Have you ever wondered why some sea creatures seem almost excited to meet us? Why some animals of the deep feel more like neighbors than strangers? Why certain species display behaviors so warm, so curious, so gentle, that you almost forget they live in a world we can barely enter? Today, we're looking at the friendliest creatures in the sea. Real animals, real behaviors, real interactions that make us marvel at the God who made them. And stay with me, because number 3 is so surprisingly gentle that even researchers admit they don't fully understand why it seeks out humans the way it does. Let's begin. Some creatures in God's oceans reflect His kindness in quiet and surprising ways. Not because they possess human-like morals, but because their design reveals patterns of gentleness, curiosity, and social warmth woven into creation by God's own hand. The ocean can be wild, stormy, unpredictable. But in that grand and powerful world lives a collection of creatures whose tenderness points beyond themselves. They remind us that creation is not only fierce, it is deeply good. So let's meet them. Our first creature leaps with joy. It plays in bow waves. It follows boats. It approaches swimmers with a confidence that feels almost friendly. The bottlenose dolphin. Dolphins are known worldwide for their easy familiarity with humans. They approach out of curiosity. They observe us. Sometimes they seem to invite play. But beneath their cheerful appearance is a depth of design that reflects God's creativity. Dolphins live in social groups. They use complex communication. They protect one another. They have been observed helping injured companions swim to the surface to breathe. They even occasionally protect swimmers from sharks, a behavior that remains a mystery, yet a beautiful one. Their friendliness is not an accident. It flows from their social nature. God gave them the instincts of community and cooperation. And when we see dolphins swimming beside boats or leaping in unison, we're reminded that joy is not foreign to God's creation. What Calvin called the theater of God's glory includes moments of play, moments of curiosity, moments when even the dolphins seem to smile. But dolphins are not the only friendly creatures, and the next one may surprise you. Our second creature seems too small to be considered friendly, yet research shows it seeks out gentle interaction with surprising confidence. The Cleaner Wrasse. This little fish makes its living by cleaning parasites from larger fish, rays, and even sharks. Think about that. Tiny fish, massive customers, zero fear. Cleaner Wrasse set up stations where larger animals come and patiently wait for their turn. This is astonishing. Predators that would normally eat small fish set aside their instincts to participate in this peaceful exchange. Scientists call this mutualism. Scripture calls it a testimony to God's providential order. The Cleaner Wrasse does not act randomly. It acts with purposeful design. Its friendliness is functional, yet it creates a sense of cooperation mirrored across the ocean. Even sharks open their mouths to allow the wrasse to clean them. No aggression, no conflict. Just a tiny fish doing its work with remarkable boldness. A picture, in its own small way, of how God sustains communities, even under the waves. But now we come to the creature you won't believe. Number 3. The creature that seems almost too gentle for its enormous size. The manatee. Imagine an animal with the size of a small car and the personality of a peaceful neighbor. Manatees glide slowly through warm coastal waters. They eat seagrass. They avoid conflict. They have no natural aggression. They display curiosity without fear. But here's what surprises researchers. Manatees often approach humans simply to investigate. They enjoy gentle physical contact. They linger near kayakers. They bump softly against swimmers, not out of danger, but out of friendly interest. They seem drawn to calm interaction. And we ask, why? Why such gentleness in such a large creature? Why such peacefulness in an ocean filled with predators? Theologians like R.C. Sproul reminded us that God's sovereignty extends to every creature. He gives some animals strength and power. He gives others gentleness and peace. The manatee is a living display of quiet kindness, a gentle giant reflecting the goodness of the one who made it. But if manatees surprise you, wait until you meet the next creature. The fourth creature pushes its snout toward divers as if asking for attention. The spotted eagle ray. Rays are often shy. But spotted eagle rays are known for approaching calmly. Their wide wings glide with effortless beauty. Divers often describe them as friendly, comfortable, unafraid, and even playful. These rays possess a gentle elegance. Their faces, with subtle markings and curious eyes, give them a surprisingly expressive appearance. But their friendliness is not just emotional. It is part of their design. Eagle rays are intelligent, social, capable of learning. And their beauty, the white spots scattered across their backs, makes them look like stars painted onto dark wings. A reminder that God's artistry touches even the creatures that roam the sandy bottoms of the sea. But don't swim away yet. The next creature represents one of the most surprising friendships in the natural world. The fifth creature guards its colony with fierce devotion, yet displays a remarkable gentleness toward one tiny species. The clownfish. Clownfish and sea anemones share one of nature's most famous partnerships. Anemones sting, clownfish do not, and yet clownfish live safely within the stinging tentacles. How? Their skin is coated with a special mucus that protects them. They feed the anemone by bringing bits of food. The anemone shelters them from predators. It is a friendship of design, not of random chance. God built into these creatures a relationship that benefits both sides, a tiny picture of interdependence, of purposeful community. And when we see these little fish darting around their anemone homes, we see joy, movement, warmth. Something Luther once said comes to mind. God writes the gospel not in the Bible alone, but on trees and flowers and clouds and stars. And in this case, in the relationship between a small orange fish and a stinging sea anemone. But our next creature moves far more slowly and carries a gentle calm that can quiet the heart. The sixth creature is ancient in design and unhurried in life. The sea turtle. Across many species, sea turtles portray a kind of peaceful endurance. They glide gracefully with slow movements. They coexist quietly with other marine life. They avoid conflict whenever possible. Some species allow divers to swim near them with no sign of alarm. Their eyes convey a softness, a curiosity, a calm awareness that draws people in. Sea turtles have survived some of the most challenging environments for thousands of years. Their gentle ways are not a weakness. They are a design choice. God made them resilient, not through aggression, but through steadiness. A lesson many believers have reflected on, that strength often appears in patience, in quietness, in endurance. Sea turtles, without knowing it, reflect that truth. But the next creature is not quiet. It sings. The seventh creature has a voice that travels for miles, a song that echoes across water like a hymn carried by currents. The humpback whale. Humpbacks are among the most musical creatures in the ocean. Their songs are structured, patterned, recognizable, and shared between individuals. But what makes them friendly is their surprising curiosity and gentle behavior around humans. They have been observed approaching boats slowly, lifting their massive heads to investigate. Sometimes they accompany swimmers at a respectful distance. There are even documented cases where humpbacks interpose themselves between humans and predators. A mysterious behavior scientists continue to study. When you hear a humpback song, you hear a piece of what John Calvin called the harmony of creation. All creation sings. All creation declares God's glory. And some creation sings literally. But our next creature is smaller, more colorful, and surprisingly social. The eighth creature glows with colors so bright, they seem almost too bold for the ocean. The parrotfish. Named for their beak-like mouths and vibrant scales, parrotfish play a major role in keeping coral reefs healthy. But what makes them friendly is their calm behavior around divers and their cooperative roles within reef ecosystems. They feed on algae that can smother coral. They clean reefs with surprising diligence. They live in groups with clear social structures. Their bright colors reveal God's joy in variety, in beauty, in delight. A reef without parrotfish suffers. A reef with parrotfish thrives. And their presence among divers is often peaceful and curious. A living reminder that gentleness can have great strength. But the next creature is even more social, and even more familiar. The ninth creature is a living celebration of community, the beluga whale. Belugas are famously vocal. They chirp, they whistle. They make sounds so expressive that they earned the nickname sea canaries. Their friendliness shows in their approachability. They often swim near humans with soft curiosity. They examine equipment. They look into cameras. They display a playful interest in the world around them. Belugas live in pods where they show cooperation, care, and communication. Their social warmth reflects the truth that God created community, even in creatures that will never speak our language. And now we come to the final creature, one of the smallest, yet one of the most surprisingly warm-hearted toward humans. The 10th creature moves with a smile etched permanently into its expression. And while the smile is not emotional, its behavior has earned it a reputation for friendliness: the spotted dolphin. Yes, another dolphin species. But this one is especially known for approaching boats, interacting with divers, and playing in the wake with childlike enthusiasm. Spotted dolphins live in tight-knit communities. They care for young together. They communicate constantly. And their interactions with people are among the most joyful in the ocean. They leap beside boats. They twist. They spin. They surf the pressure waves with a kind of exuberant delight that reminds us that God made creation not only to function, but to rejoice. Jonathan Edwards once wrote that creation is a display of God's beauty. Even the playful behavior of animals points back to the source of all joy. The spotted dolphin is a bright, playful chapter in that story. But step back for a moment. Look at the pattern. Dolphins, wrasse, manatees, rays, clownfish, sea turtles, humpbacks, parrotfish, belugas, spotted dolphins. Different shapes, different sizes, different habitats, yet each displays friendliness in its own way: curiosity, approachability, gentleness, cooperation. These traits are reflections of a world created good, a world not defined solely by tooth and claw. The fall of man introduced death into creation. Romans 8 makes that abundantly clear. But even in a broken world, God left signs of his kindness, traces of his goodness, whispers of Eden. The friendliest creatures in the sea are among those whispers. They remind us that the world God made still carries beauty, still carries joy, still carries warmth in unexpected places. And when we encounter animals that approach without fear, or interact with gentleness, or move with playful delight, we see small reflections of the character of the God who formed them. The sea is wide, its creatures are many, but through all of them runs one truth: creation declares the glory of God. Every leap of a dolphin, every gentle glide of a manatee, every curious glance of a beluga, every peaceful stroke of a sea turtle's flippers. This world is not an accident. It is a masterpiece. Even in the deep places, even in the quiet waters. And the friendliest creatures in the sea invite us to marvel at the kindness woven into creation itself. So the next time you see a dolphin leap, or a turtle glide, or a manatee surface with slow grace, remember this: God's handiwork is everywhere, even in the creatures that greet us like friends. Stay curious, stay amazed, and never forget that every gentle creature points beyond itself to the God whose kindness has no end.